Okay, let's talk about some limit rules, okay? Rules for limits and arithmetic operations and stuff. Sure. Let's say that let's say that there's two functions, f of x, and g of x, okay? And L is equal to the limit of f of x as x approaches c, okay? And let's say that m is equal to the limit of g of x. Well, actually, I don't have to put these parentheses in. I don't remember this. It's just going to be too many parentheses. G of x as x approaches c. Okay, the first rule we're going to learn about limits is the sum rule. And the sum rule is just saying that the limit of two functions have been added of f of x plus g of x is equal to the L plus m. So L and m, L is the limit of f of x as x approaches c, and m is the limit of g of x as x approaches c. What this is saying is that the limit of f of x plus g of x is equal to just the combining both those limits. So if we knew, let's say, the limit L, we knew L is equal to, that was not a better L. L is equal to 2 and m is equal to 4. And we said, well, I want you to find the limit of, let's say, as x approaches 1. This is their limit. And we said we wanted you to find the limit of m of f of x plus g of x as x approaches 1. Instead of doing this calculation separately, you could just say, okay, well, I know their individual limits already. So it's just going to be 2 plus 4, because we already know their individual limits. And then second rule is the difference rule, which you can already figure out. The difference rule says pretty much the same thing except in reverse, the inverse of addition, subtraction. F of x, the limit of f of x minus g of x as x approaches c is equal to L minus m. That's it. And it's the same thing here. You knew the limits L and m of the individual functions. They're actually going to take the limit of the difference between the functions. Then it'd be the same thing. You just do 2 minus 4, which would be negative 2 in that case. So yeah, that's the difference and the sum rule. Then the next rule is the product rule, which is I imagine you can probably come up with what it is. Product rule says that the limit of f of x multiplied by g of x as x approaches c is equal to L multiplied by m. It's the same thing. It says that, again, if we knew, let's say the limit of L was 2 and the limit of M of the limit of f of x as x approaches c is 2, and the limit of g of x as x approaches c, which is M, is equal to 4, and the axis to find the limit, when we multiply g of x and f of x together, we could just multiply 2 and 4 together to find out the limit as that happens. So I'm debating whether to keep going with the next rules or just stop here. I'll just keep going, whatever. Okay, let me erase this part right here. Okay, the next rule is the constant multiple rule. It says that the limit, let's say we had k, a constant k, and the limit as the limit of k multiplied by f of x, okay, as x approaches c is the same thing as saying k multiplied by L. That's what it is. So if just the limit of f of x multiplied by k, that's the same thing. So again, if we were to go back to the thing, and let's say the k is, the constant is some number, let's say 2, whatever. And we know the limit as f of x approaches c, which is, let's say, again, 2. So L would be equal to 2. And the axis will calculate the limit of k times f of x. Then we would just have to multiply k times L. Okay? It's almost like doing the function separately and then multiplying it. Or just bringing the k out, saying that. Bringing the k out of the limit operator. And I'm going to do the next two in another video. The last one's in another video, okay? Stay in school.